Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunā Tira Vanachari. Yamunā Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhūtebhyo Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaiṣṇavascha. Shri Rupam Sagadatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanditam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaiṣṇavebhyo namo namah. He Krishna karuna sindhu dinabandho jagatpate Gopesha gopika kanta radha kanta namostute Tapta kanchana gaurangi radhe vrindavaneshwari Vriṣṇavanusute devi pranamami haripriya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashaprayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Grantara Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. We have a book. Thank you.
Ist das okay mit dem Harmonium? Sollen wir es runter?
No, it's alles gut, glaube ich. Kann ich sehen. Ja, danke. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Good morning, Suprabhatam, Guten Morgen, Dzień dobry. No, we don't have any Polish people here. Oh, this is quite close. I'm happy to be here again in Goloka Dhama, having the darshan of Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan and Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. I was just in Radhadesh, and whenever I go to Radhadesh, I'm happy to see the deities there. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Lalita Vishakha Devi, Gaur Nitai, but especially I like to see Lord Jagannath there. And the reason is because Lord Jagannath were originally installed by Srila Prabhupada in Amsterdam, and sometime, maybe 1 year later, I was sent to Amsterdam, and there, one of the services I had was worshipping Lord Jagannath. Similarly here, I'm happy to see Chota, especially Chota Radha Krishna and Gaur Nitai, because in 1975, I was asked to help with the worship of the deities in Schloss Rettershof. So my service was worshipping Gaur Nitai and Chota Jagannath, who are presently in Zurich. So this is the Hare Krishna movement. We all move a lot, and Krishna also moves. Yeah. Okay, let us begin. We're reading from Bhagavatam, Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life is the title given I believe this was given by the devotees of Bhaktivedanta Book Trust who were producing the books. And we're reading verses 25 and I was told also 26. We have verse 25 here to read. 26, okay. Right, okay, thank you. So I'll read verse 25. Eshu snānaṁ japo homo vrataṁ deva-dvijārcanam pitṛ-deva-nṛ-bhūtebhyo dattam tat dhyānaśvaram. Yes, okay. It's tat hi anaśvaram, and it becomes dhyānaśvaram. Translation. During these periods of seasonal change, if one bathes in the Ganges, in the Yamunā, or in another sacred place, if one chants, offers fire sacrifices, or executes vows, or if one worships the Supreme Lord, the brāhmaṇas, the forefathers, the demigods, and the living entities in general, whatever he gives in charity yields a permanently beneficial result. So this anaśvaram means permanently beneficial. It comes from nashana. Nasha means destruction, so anaśvaram. It's made into a noun and it's made negative. Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's read the verse written here. Samskara kalo jayaya. Samskara kalo jayaya. Apatyasyatmanastata. Apatyasyatmanastata. Preta sangstamritahascha. Preta sangstamritahascha. Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa. Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa. Samskara kalo jayaya. Apatyasyatmanastata. Preta sangstamritahascha. Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa. Others?
Samskara kalo jayaya.
Samskara kalo
Jayaya.
Apatyasyatmanastata.
Apatyasyatmanastata.
Preta sangstamritahascha.
Preta sangstamritahascha.
Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa.
Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa.
Samskara kalo jayaya.
Samskara kalo jayaya.
Apatyasyatmanastata.
Apatyasyatmanastata.
Preta sangstamritahascha.
Preta sangstamritahascha.
Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa.
Karmanyabhyudhaye nripa.
Samskara kalo
Okay, so what does it mean? Samskara kala. At the proper time, indicated for Vedic reformatory performances. Jayaya, for the wife. Apatyasya, for the children. Atmana, and one's own self. Tata, as well as. Preta sangsta, funeral ceremonies. Mrita aha, annual death ceremonies. Cha, and karmani, of fruitive activities. Abhyudaye, for furtherance. Nripa, O king. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O King Yudhishthira, at the time prescribed for reformatory ritualistic ceremonies for oneself, one's wife, or one's children, or during funeral ceremonies and annual death ceremonies, one must perform the auspicious ceremonies mentioned above in order to flourish in fruitive activities, which is what we all want, right? We want to flourish in fruitive activities. Purport. The Vedas recommend many ritualistic ceremonies to be performed with one's wife on the birthdays of one's children or during funeral ceremonies. And there are also personal reformatory methods like initiation. These must be observed according to time and circumstances and the directions of the Shastra. Bhagavad Gita strongly recommends Yatva Shastra Vidanoktam. Everything must be performed as indicated in the Shastras. For Kali Yuga, the Shastras enjoin the Sankirtan Yajna, enjoin that Sankirtan Yajna be performed always. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. All the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Shastras must be preceded and followed by Sankirtana. This is the recommendation of Srila Jiva Goswami. And so ends Srila Prabhupada's purport. During these periods of seasonal change, if one bathes in the Ganges, in the Yamunā, or in another sacred place, if one chants, offers fire sacrifices, or executes vows, or if one worships the Supreme Lord, the brāhmaṇas, the forefathers, the demigods, and living entities in general, whatever he gives in charity yields a permanently beneficial result. O King Yudhishthira, at the time prescribed for reformatory ritualistic ceremonies for oneself, one's wife, or one's children, or during funeral ceremonies and annual death ceremonies, one must perform the auspicious ceremonies mentioned above in order to flourish in fruitive activities. This last line could be taken as a kind of ironic statement. Irony is when you say one thing and you mean something else. That's irony. Oh, let's see, is the sun shining? It's sort of shining. If I say it's a brilliant, sunny summer day, but it's not, it's totally overclouded, then I'm being ironic, right? So, who is speaking these verses? Let's start there. Who is speaking these verses? Narada Muni. And Narada, well, he has a bit of a reputation. And part of his reputation is for causing the sons, all 11,000 of them, of Daksha, to give up the idea of taking up householder life, right? And renouncing everything. He said, why go to all of this trouble? Save yourself a lot of trouble and just take to the renounced order of life. And he was so convincing that they actually did it. And this did not make Daksha happy. In fact, it made him so upset. What did he do? He cursed Narada, which Narada, of course, took as a blessing. The curse was that he would have no permanent place to stay, and he took it as a blessing. Great, I can keep on the move. The rolling stone gathers no moss. Wie sagt man auf Deutsch? Is there such an Ausdruck? The rolling stone gathers no moss.
Rollende Steine sammeln kein Moos an.
Yeah. It's kein Sprichwort. Anyway, so that's Narada, and Narada is now speaking to Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira is not going to renounce his family, and so it may be appropriate in that sense that he encourages him in fruitive activities, karmani abhyudaye, for the purpose of avi-ut, avi-ut I think E is the verbal root, to increase, to further, to expand his fruitive activities. He's saying, do all these regulations which are described in this chapter, and you will thrive. And it gives quite some details of rituals to be done, and practically speaking, all of them are spoken in a particular grammatical voice, and that grammatical voice in Sanskrit is called the vidhi-lin form of the verb. The vidhi-lin, in English it would be called the optative. The optative, I don't know, in German, optativ, is a kind of imperative form. Do this, you must do this. Tat vijnanartam sagarun eva abhigachet. That abhigachet Srila Prabhupada explains, means you must accept a guru. Well, yes, but it's the vidhi-līna, it's not the imperative form. It's not, what is it called, the lut form or something. I forget, which is the full imperative, which we find in the Bhagavad Gita several times. And you all know one of them, sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Vraja is a second person, singular, imperative, go. It's a stronger form of command, although it can be taken in a way like an invitation. But the vidhi-līna actually has 6 different purposes, but they're all in relation to vidhi. And vidhi, what is vidhi? Vidhi means rules, things that should be done for a purpose. Because you want to get some result, you do some vidhi. That's the basic idea. And so in this chapter and other chapters, we get a lot of this vidhi, lean form. In verse 2, which I think is really the essential point of the whole chapter. Some of you have been reading it recently. Sri Narada Uvacha, he says, Griheshvavastito rajan kriya kurvan yata uchitaha vasudevarpanam sakshat upasita mahamunin. Narada Muni replied to Yudhishthira, my dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood, and instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna, Vasudeva. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. That's pretty much in a nutshell what this whole chapter is about. And this is a kind of, how to say, it's a kind of purport, the whole series of chapters that are giving so many rules. They're giving the Vaiṣṇava purport to Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is a particular genre of what we broadly call Vedic literature, and probably you've heard of the Manu Samhita or the Manava Dharma Shastra, same thing, full of rules. There are several Dharma Shastra. I've been informed that although we always refer to the Manu Samhita, the one which is more used in, or traditionally more used in India than the Manu Samhita, is the Yajnavalkya Dharma Shastra. And there are so many more. I don't remember names of them right now. But what I'm saying is that the Bhagavatam, which we understand is the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic literature, Nigama kalpataror galitang palam shukamukad amrita drava samyutam pivata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Oh, you rasikas. Oh, you connoisseurs. You know the word connoisseur? It's a French word. You don't know? Connoisseur. Auf Deutsch ein Feinschmecker, genau. Yeah. Huh? Connoisseur. Connoisseur. Ah oui. So, oh, you connoisseurs, drink the nectar, which is the ripened fruit of the Vedic literature, and do it again and again. And so we are invited to relish the Bhagavatam, and so one might wonder, well, what we find in these chapters, starting from, what is it, chapter 11, I believe, they're not so sweet nectar. I don't know how to relish them. They're telling all these rules, do this, do this, do this, do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. That's, I don't get any taste out of that, sorry. However, if you appreciate what this is the purport to, so to say, if you are familiar somewhat with Dharma Shastra, then you can relish just how luminous is all of those rules are being made through the Bhagavatam. How? Because they are giving the actual purpose, the telos. You know this word telos? It's a Greek word. A couple of days ago I said in a lecture it's Latin. Big mistake. It's telos. What is telos? It's the direction of something. It's the purpose. It's the aim. It's the ultimate aim or ultimate cause, according to Aristotle. So here, Vasudeva Paradeva, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Paramaka, etc. in the first canto. It's all about serving Vasudeva or Krishna. But let's reflect a little bit on this Dharma Shastra. There's a lot of it. You can wade through Dharma Shastra and get lost. One contemporary scholar who studies Dharma Shastra, I don't know why one would do this, but he studies Dharma Shastra, and he's written an interesting book explaining Dharma Shastra, and he makes what I find to be a very interesting point. You may or may not. And that is that the basic purpose of Dharma Shastra is to tell us how to pay our debts. How to pay our debts. We're all born in this world. The instant we're born, we didn't ask for it, we may say, but we have debts. Who are these debts to? They're debts to 5 different categories. They are debts to the devas, the demigods or the gods, the celestial beings. They are debts to the forefathers, the pitris, who are mentioned in one of these verses we just read. They are debts to the rishis. They are debts to other human beings. Rina means debt in Sanskrit. And so you have deva rina, rishi rina, pitri rina, nr rina, and bhu rina. Bhu means boo. No, it means living entities, all beings. And so the Dharma Shastra is elaborating how these debts are to be paid. How they're to be paid back. If they're not paid back, we're in trouble. We go to hell. I know Chitraketu says, I don't mind going to hell. But why does he say that? He says it because he's engaged in devotional service and he knows that he can engage in devotional service wherever he is. If I'm in hell, if I'm in heaven, if I'm in Dusseldorf, what made me think of Dusseldorf? I don't know. Anywhere I can serve the Lord. But generally the desire is to go to heaven. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is also giving a purport to some extent, to a large extent, we could say, to Dharma Shastra. And so, not just Dharma Shastra, but also the Vedic Samhitas. So when he says, for example, Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschita deva-dvijārcanam partha nanyat astiti varina. These people, Veda rata, people who are attached to the Vada, the words of the Veda, which are pushpita, which are flowered, literally, they're flowery. They think this is everything. They don't understand what the telos, what the aim, what the purpose is. And of course, at the end that we've already quoted, Krishna is saying, Sarva dharman prityaja. Having not just tyag, the verbal root is tyag, to renounce, to give up, but parityaja, all around. Pari means around, so in all respect, just give it all up. Krishna, sarva dharma. Not some dharma, but sarva dharma. Give it all up. And then, mam ekam sharanam vraja. Go to my shelter. And then Krishna gives the reassurance, because someone may feel nervous about this. Yes, but if I do that, then I may go to hell. No, Krishna says, ahang tvang sarva papebhyaha. I'm going to mokshayishami, I'm going to free you from any papa that may accrue. Ma shucha, don't worry. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have another reassurance. Shraddha shabde vishvas kahe sudritha nischoy. Krishna bhakti karma sarva karma krita hoy. Krishna bhakti hoyle sarva karma krita hoy. Shraddha, it's giving a definition of Shraddha. Shraddha shabde vishvas kahe. Shraddha is having the firm conviction, sudridha, the firm conviction that Krishna bhakti koile, if I perform Krishna bhakti, the koile gives the sense of if I do, or it can be done. Krishna bhakti koile, sarva karma krita hoy, it's all done. Everything that's needed to be done is done. Yeah. So, and then we have the verse from Hari Bhakti Vilasa, Smartavya Satatam Vishnor Vismartavyo Najatuchit Sarve Vidhi Nishedha Syuhu Etayoreva Kinkara. Smartavya, to be remembered. When? Satatam, always. What is to be remembered? Vishnu. Vishnu, where did Vishnu go? He was here a few minutes ago. Vishnu, one young man. Smartavya satatam Vishnu. Vismartavyo na jatuchit, one should not forget at any time. Sarve vidhi, Remember vidhi, rules? And the opposite of vidhi is nishedha. You can see when you go to Mayapur, except it's always written in Bengali, but if you can read Bengali, it says, you'll see signs on the lawns in the gardens, Dhūmpan nishedha, no smoking. Nishedha means forbidden. Dhūmpan means drinking smoke. That's how they say smoking. Dhūmpan nishedha. So, sarve vidhi nishedhasyu etayaho, of these two. Eva kinkaraha. A kinkara is a servant. A servant is one who asks the question, kim kara, what should I do? What do you want me to do? A kim kara has the mood of kainkarya, which is a word which the Sri Vaiṣṇavas celebrate a lot, not so much in our tradition. So it's a simple rule, smartavya satatam Vishnu, always remember Vishnu, vismartavyo na jatu chit, never forget. And if one does this, then everything is good. This is confirmed by Krishnadas Kaviraj in a very sweet way in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let's see if I can remember. He says that if one always remembers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that which is difficult, let's see, it's Monday morning, so the brain is not remembering. If one always remembers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then that which is difficult to do becomes easy. And the reverse. Viparitam syat Sri Chaitanya namami tam. If one doesn't remember Lord Chaitanya, then that which is normally easy becomes impossible. So, yeah. Chaitanya Charitamrita, someone can look it up, you have it on your phone. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 14, verse 1. Anyone have it there? Not so essential, but I'm feeling slightly frustrated not remembering. You found it? Okay, or you can just tell us. Okay. That's the word I couldn't remember. Katanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet. Vismrite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanya namamitam. So katanchana smrite yasmin duskaram. So duskaram, that which is difficult to do, sukaram bhavet, becomes easy. Vismrite, if you forget, viparitam syat, the opposite is the case. Sri Chaitanya namamitam. So this conviction that whatever needs to be done will be done if I serve Krishna is called Shraddha. That's the definition that Krishnadas Kaviraj gives. One can understand that in a kind of inverse way. Well, one can understand it in two inverse ways. One is, if I don't serve Vishnu and I do all the rules and regulations, I may or may not be successful in life. The verse that we read, the second one, assures us that one will be successful in one's material fruitive activities. But again, that's a kind of, I think it's a kind of trick statement. Yes, you'll become successful in your fruitive activities, but then what? Will you be happy by that? Will you be perfected by that? Will you be perfected by that? Your activities, okay, but what about you? So the Bhagavatam is bringing us always back to this point. What else can we say about ideal family life? Not very much, because I have no experience myself of either ideal or non-ideal family life. And I always defer to the devotees with families, many of whom have, I would say, very much ideal families. Although we've also seen where there have been challenges among families. They might take guidance from this chapter in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us in the 18th chapter, let's see if I can remember this verse, Yagya dana tapa karma natyajam karyate chatat yagyo dharma yagyo dana tapo chaiva pavanani manishina. That's it. So even the qualified persons, manishina, pavanani, are purified by performance of yagya, dana, and tapa. What is yagya? Sacrifice. What is dana? Charity. And what is tapa? Austerity. When we hear the second and the third of these, we might not be very happy, because we're thinking, dana, I'm just barely able to pay my bills. How am I going to give in charity? And tapa, I'm following 4 regulative principles. What more do you want? What Krishna is saying is natyajam karyate chatat. These are not to be given up at any time. So this, I think, these 3 in combination are nice to reflect on. Srila Prabhupada always takes us back to what we may understand as the essential point of performance of yagya, which is sankirtanam. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Very nice. There you go. Shri Shri Radha Mohan Ki Jai. Now I know what I can say in Srimad-Bhagavatam class. These 3, I think, in combination, offer us, whether we're a householder or a non-householder, an orientation with respect to our engagement in the material world, our existence in the material world. I was speaking in Radhadesh. We had a farm conference. We want to develop farms. We have farms. Altogether in ISKCON, approximately 65 farms and goshalas around the world, and approximately 5,000 cows, of which 4,000 are in India. So we're discussing how can we expand. And there was a subject which I was asked to get a discussion going about how can we practice farming and maintain and develop our Krishna consciousness. So I took as a starting point the late Kadamba Swami's very insightful illustration. I found it insightful and helpful, and that is we all have seen, and perhaps some of you are experienced in juggling. Do we have any jugglers amongst us here? Juggling balls or batons? Yes? No? Yes. You have practiced juggling? He's not saying. Yes?
I can do 3 balls.
3 balls, that's all you need for this illustration. 2 anyone can do, but 3 you have to a little bit practice. Okay, so there are 3 balls and you have to keep them in the air. What are the 3 balls of this illustration? One is maintaining yourself physically, mentally, and socially. We have needs. We have, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So that's one object, let's call it a baton. It's a thing like this. The second one is our sadhana. We practice, what do we do? Well, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedam. I missed one. Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedam. Like that. And what is the third? The third is pracharanam. It's the mission. We are welcome to the Hare Krishna movement. We are part of a mission established or begun in modern times by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and given to us by our acharyas over the generations, with Srila Prabhupada bringing the entire package to us in the West and requesting us to continue to expand the mission. So these are like 3 batons which need to keep moving. And that's an art and a skill. It's something that needs practice. You may find, as you practice, that in the beginning you drop one of the balls or one of the batons. Probably one is going to get dropped. But what do? You stop and you pick it up and you try again and you try again. And you keep going, and after some time, you become skilled. And then we've all seen a skilled juggler. They just do it and it looks effortless practically, right? Now, one devotee in Radhadesh pointed out to me an interesting point I found relevant to the analogy, and that is the juggler doesn't so much focus on each one of these objects individually, but rather focuses more or less straight ahead. So what is here the straight ahead in this analogy? How about Krishna? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantas Cha Dridhavrata, with a great vow, Dridha, a firm vow. Dridha can mean firm. It can also mean resilient. You know this word resilient? It means you have some flexibility and you can come back after you get, punched in the nose. Let's hope it doesn't happen. You can come back and fight back. So, on that note, I will end just as our pujari comes to give us the purport. to my purport. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. If there are any comments or discussion, I'm happy to entertain. Yes, Adishesha Prabhu.
In the first canto of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, we hear that in the Bhagavatam it is said that all kinds of religions who are material motivated are abandoned.
Ah, yes.
So then now here in the seventh canto we hear a description of this religious practice which is materially motivated.
It seems like it's not being abandoned, isn't it? Yes. The Bhagavatam, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his very early essay, which he titled The Bhagavata, with a subtitle, it's Philosophy, Ethics, and Religion. Philosophy, Ethics, and Religion, I believe, or Theology. He suggests that the Bhagavatam, one of the functions of the Bhagavatam is to bring together all the essentials of all the vast Vedic literature so that there is no longer a need for all the other literature. He goes so far as to say, if all the other Vedic literature would be burned, and he gives example, like the burning of the Library of Alexandria. It's a famous event. Centuries ago, there was a vast library. It contained all learning of the Western world. And it was burned to the ground. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, even if all of that literature would be burned, and if we have the Bhagavatam, nothing is lost. So from that perspective, one can understand, even though the Bhagavatam makes the statement you quoted, it still includes, in case someone still is feeling the need for fruitive activity, etc. Yes, that is also there. But keep in mind how it is packaged. What is the full picture? What is the complete story? And the effort of the Bhagavatam, and of course the duty of the Bhagavata speaker, is to give the purport. And that's what we see in this particular chapter. It's there in the second verse, summarized. The purpose of what you're doing is serving Vasudeva. Oh, we meet again. Yeah. Is that okay? Yes, Manjula.
Yeah, because in the very beginning you were mentioning your relationship to the deities here, and next year we will have 50 years of Shishya of the larger and we're trying to figure out how, what happened, how we came here, and for the two sets of deities we have some knowledge.
Right.
From Goloka, which is kind of like, where did they come
They're a little mysterious.
Yeah, how did they become a part of this wonderful altar?
Well, it's a mystery.
I didn't know that Jagannath had been there and had gone to Zurich. That's like completely new for me.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, they were in Hamburg together with Chota Radha Krishna. Gaura Nitai were not there. They came later. That's an interesting question. Have you asked Ashtarata Prabhu?
Have you asked?
I guess he was asked, but he also didn't know.
Oh, then it's very mysterious. If he doesn't know, then no one knows. except Gornitai. You have to ask them. Maybe they will reveal this to you in a dream. No, I really don't. I don't remember. Yeah, Jagannath and Chota Radhakrishna were in Amsterdam. The temple was a converted warehouse, and considering the circumstance, they had actually made a quite nice little charming temple room. And that was my first time I saw any deities. And I must say the worship they were doing at that time was also very high class. They were very... I was always struck by the mood of the worship. Very serious. It was real, concentrated attention. I was a totally brand new bhakta on my way with the devotees from Stuttgart over Hamburg to Paris to meet Srila Prabhupada. And anyway, so we were just there one night, and I don't know, the first evening or the next morning, I sort of peeked into the kitchen, and the atmosphere in the kitchen was, I can only compare it to an operation room in a hospital. It's like everyone was very serious. They were just preparing the offering plate, and they turned and glared at me. I understood I shouldn't be here. No, I think they kind of gently said, yeah, so that was first exposure to them. And then in 1975, I was asked, I had been on traveling Sankirtan, and I didn't tell anyone, but I was kind of thinking, oh gosh, it was Sunday night. I remember it was Sunday night. So we had come back after traveling to the temple for the weekend. All the devotees were there. And in those days, it was quite some celebrations every 2 weekends of the book distributors. But I was never much of a book distributor. So it was Sunday night. I was anticipating, okay, we're going out this next week to distribute books, and I was as surrendered as I could be. It's my duty. But I was not, truth be told, really looking forward to it. But anyway, there I was. So I was already lying down to rest. I was in my sleeping bag. And Bhakti-bhūśana Swami came to me. And he shook me on the shoulder. Prabhu, can you stay back this week and help with the deity worship? Yes! And then I stayed back, not for 1 week, but for a year. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the class. I have two questions, if possible.
Mm.
You were talking about these japo,
Yeah.
3 balls, and I tried it already for some time, and always one ball comes too short. Mostly it's reading and sleeping, and I try it from all sides, but when I want to manage everything, then I'm always too late in bed. When I'm too late in bed, then the sadhana is not good in the morning, or if I want to sleep longer, then the sadhana starts too late. How can I try it really from all sides? I'm only 8 years in Krishna consciousness. I'm not so experienced, but always something.
Only 8 years.
Yeah.
That's a fair amount of time.
Always something comes too short, and I don't know the solution. I mostly said that reading comes too short, and if sleeping is under 6 hours, is also not so good as a time.
All you have to do is expand yourself into two forms, and then one, or maybe 3 forms. And one can do the sadhana, one can do the maintenance, and one can do the mission. No problem. No, we all have our challenges with that, and we have to do the best we can. But the general point is we don't want to neglect any of them, or we get in trouble, isn't it? If we neglect mission, then we lose track of why we're doing sadhana. If we neglect sadhana and only do mission, then again, why are we doing the mission? And if we neglect our own maintenance, our needs, then it can be bad for our health, and then we can't do sadhana and we can't do mission. So it's an ongoing adjustment, I think. And we have to also be forgiving to ourselves. We can't be hitting ourselves over the head because of one or another shortcoming for some of the time. But the general principle, I think, is what is important here. In any given day, there may be one or another shortcoming, but overall, we want to pursue some balance. Isn't it? Somehow or other. Yena tena prakarena mana Krishna niveshayat. Somehow or other. And Krishna, somehow or other, keep the mind on Krishna. And Krishna tells Arjuna that, again the Sanskrit, forgetting, tasma tesha satata, one should simultaneously, he says, remember me and fight. How does the verse go? In the 8th chapter. Right, I didn't clearly hear, but yes. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the beginning of the verse. Tasmat something, mam anusmara yudhyacha. So he's kind of saying simultaneously, do both. And he says, anusmara, always remember. And this is one of the imperatives, grammatical imperative, that you have to do this. Ongoing, anusmara, remember always. And yudhya, fight. So he gives us a tall order. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. The second question is a small sadhana question. I highly appreciate the manga arati, because I feel the mind is more fixed and the influence of Maya is not so strong than without manga arati. but the other side is the chanting starts around 5:30, and when I start with chanting before 5, then I feel I come more deeper. Also after the 5:30, it's more superficial for me. To what should I give preference, to the chanting or to the manga?
Well, if you ask me, it's always a good idea to ask your guru what to do. I'm not.
It's not possible anymore.
Well, what I would say is you may do an abvekslung. Sometimes go for Mangalarti. Sometimes, okay, I'm going to chant this morning, starting early. So that's what I would suggest. Some may say, no. We should always go to Mangalarti. That's nice. Different devotees have different mood. And different ways of making this balance. I think the essential, the principle is to keep the balance and to keep thereby strong sadhana and to appreciate others whose regulation may be slightly different than ours. Not to say, I'm doing right, they're doing wrong. That can be a danger. Yashodharani, you had a question? No. Someone here had a question. No? Okay. Time. Yes. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande.